I'm cringing so hard. Our first video episode went live.
Also, no one's going to see it. We don't ever promote any of our shit anyway.
Right? Define vibing. I just think it means accepting technical debt. That's all.
That's fucking brilliant. I love that. I still fundamentally believe that like you shouldn't just blindly generate content with AI. But like more and more I'm seeing AI as like helping me organize and reword my thoughts into something cohesive.
May have spent my entire weekend vibe coding a new app. You can find that at scribble.sh. Digital privacy screen. Click on the eyeball. It turns into like a horizontal marker line.
It's like a redacted type thing.
There might be a really cool niche, engineering as marketing as a service. You help engineers get more involved in marketing.
All right,
so hard. I just need to tell you, like, I'm so uncomfortable.
Why are you uncomfortable, Sean? Tell me.
Our first video episode went live a couple hours ago, and if you happen to be watching the second video episode, you'll see that I'm sitting farther away from the camera because
the funny part is like you're cringing about you on camera and I was cringing about me on camera, like and yeah, also no one's gonna see it because we don't ever promote any of our shit anyway. We're just now publishing it to a place that has an algorithm.
Rob's got us. YouTube Boost has us. Yeah, you know like YouTube's like changed their entire algorithm to boost smaller creators.
Oh no, I didn't know about this.
We're gonna get boosted. It's gonna happen. The YouTube gods.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay.
I will say, like I think in the last month, MetaMonster has gotten like 20 clicks from YouTube, just from like the couple. Like I did one video about how to do AI stuff inside of Screaming Frog, and then I have a couple of demo videos, and that's about it. And cool. I'm getting like a tiny trickle of YouTube traffic. And at first, I thought it was just like an ad thing, but I turned off the ads, and I'm still seeing the trickle of traffic. So I think it's working a little bit. So that's kind of cool.
Video is the future.
Anyway, what are your thoughts on vibe coding?
I mean, it's all I do. I love it.
Yeah, I guess you've been doing it for a while. Have you actually done the transcription where you're like talking to the AI thing?
No. I prefer to code. I prefer to vibe code in a silent environment. I don't want to talk to. Yeah.
Gotcha. Have you watched any videos? Like people have been posting videos of themselves, like just sort of chatting with the AI and like building shit. Have you watched any of these?
I have like I wish I was more into content creation. I would just be live streaming myself vibe coding at this point. I have a little bit. I watched like Greg's stuff, and I watched a couple of other folks to kind of see how they were doing it.
Greg
Eisenberg.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because he's big on or folks that come onto Greg's podcast. They like show them vibe coding. But those like early on, like early Bolt and V0 days. I actually have never seen anyone pull off like a solid app within time. Like it's like easy baby, like barely a CRUD app sort of stuff.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Austin started building our WordPress plugin, and he's not vibe coding it, but he generated the first version with AI, and it worked like out of the box.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think he had to like do some like, again, some vibing, I guess. He had to give it do some prompt back and forth kind of stuff.
Sure. Hold on. Can you define, when you say vibing, right? Define vibing.
See, I have no fucking clue because like I'm not on Twitter anymore, and I feel like most of this is happening on Twitter, and so I'm just like kind of picking up context clues from podcasts. So I may be like cringy millennial using this totally wrong.
I just think it means accepting technical debt.
That's fucking brilliant. I love that. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. When I picture vibe coding, like I think of the experience I had where I was building the like sign up flow for MetaMonster, and I was like, hey, generate this. And I was like, okay, cool, move this over there. And I got to a point where it was faster for me to like make changes through cursor than it was to make changes in the code myself. because it was like, oh, I need to change these 4 things at once. I can go through and find them in the code and go change, or I can just be like, hey, cursor, change this, this, this.
Yeah.
And it was like faster to just go, okay, now tweak this. Oh, now tweak this. And then I think like the sort of, from what I understand, the kind of pinnacle of vibe coding at the moment is actually using voice transcription to just like talk to the AI and be like, all right, cool. Now make this change, and just like go through it that way. I feel like.
I believe it. I definitely have seen a lot of people talk about this voice command. I'm not that articulate of a person, and I like
Mm,
editing my messages before I hit send. So I always find it a little bit weird. I feel like if I have to speak it, I'm mentally editing and then speaking it anyway. So,
hmm. That's interesting. Um,
um,
I really want to try this, but with writing. So I was
mhm,
just listening to an episode of Mostly Technical,
yeah,
Aaron Francis and Ian Landsman's podcast. And Aaron was talking about his new process for creating newsletters. And I think it's appealing to me. The sell, the value, the pitch, the dream is appealing to me because I'm just such a slow content creator. It's just such a slog for me to. I have a newsletter. I haven't sent a newsletter out in 3 months because I have been procrastinating on
me too.
writing blog posts and then even doing like a summary of, doing my little link roundup. Um, so, um, but his process, he like pulls together a handful of links, and then dictates to like an AI service, like sort of his thoughts about the links, and then he has an employee like clean it up, like edit
Mhm,
it and clean it up and get it ready for production. Um, and that's super interesting to me. And he's been using lex.page.
mhm.
Do you know Lex?
I know of it, also related because of the thing we're building at the moment, but
Oh yeah,
that isn't AI related. You told me about it. It like AI powered, AI assisted editor, great editing experience, kind of like a cursor, but for writing.
yeah.
I
And
understand it. Yeah.
it seems like they're trying to become more and more like the cursor for writing.
Mhm,
Trying to I noticed they have a way to like kind of add context from different files inside of Lex to your
mhm,
conversations now, and like switch models and stuff like that. Um, so Aaron's using Lex to do this, and so I figured I would give it a try. So I just upgraded to the premium version of Lex for the first time, so that I could use the latest Claude model to try this out with. Um, and yeah, my plan is I've got a blog post I've been wanting to write for a while. And so I'm going to try, like, I've always kind of dreamed about being able to just talk through my ideas and then
mhm,
have someone help me organize those into a cohesive post.
mhm,
Um, and so I'm very intrigued by the idea of being able to talk to the AI and just like still come to the table with original ideas
yeah,
and still be the one to do a lot of the work of like reorganizing those ideas into something cohesive, but just having the AI there to help me type and like get to the rough draft faster,
mhm,
and then be able to like use it to try to make edits quickly
mhm,
and stuff like that. So it's very appealing. We'll see if it's for real or not. I want to try it out and see how far I can get with it, and like um,
yeah.
see if I can kind of use this to speed up my content workflow.
I mean, I've been doing that a little bit with like Claude projects. I put a lot of context into the project artifacts, and then I
Oh, cool.
started asking questions, and I've also been just using it as like introspection. I like gave it my full like bibliography, life history, like whatever sort of thing, and like dropped it in there, and I just start like I just start asking it questions about yeah, like, I don't want to pay for a therapist apparently, and that's what it's become. um I think one of the things I found is that working with AI kicks me into flow state like nothing else at the
Mm,
moment, because I think it's just how fast the feedback loop is and how quickly it's giving you like relevant ideas constantly.
And
It's
just
pretty
getting
cool.
over that blank page, like
Yeah.
getting past the blank page, like getting started hurdle, which
Yeah.
feels so huge, especially if you're someone like I have. Do you have diagnosed ADHD? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think there's an episode where I came on like the day after or right after. I don't remember.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
it
right.
was fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for someone with ADHD, just getting past the blank page. I mean, it's hard for everyone, but it's even harder if you have like an ADHD brain.
Totally.
So, yeah, I'll try this out and report back. I'm really curious to see how it goes.
All right,
But
quick question before we get on to the next thing.
yeah,
Are you a pantser or a plotter?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you write by the seat of your pants or do you plot it out?
Definitely don't plot it out. I don't do
I see.
outlines and shit like that. It doesn't work for
Gotcha.
me. I just like write and
Uh-huh.
then go, crap, this doesn't work. And I
Mhm.
also like, this is one of the things I struggle with too, is all the great writers say you're supposed to like just write without editing yourself. But I find
Mhm.
myself like writing and going, oh wait, this is not how I want this to flow. And then, so I end up editing myself as I go,
Gotcha.
which isn't great. Yeah.
Nice.
By the way, the Lex and like every business model is so fascinating. I'm really, really curious to see if they're going to be successful with it. Do you know about this?
No, I don't know. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Yeah.
So every.2
Uh-huh.
every is like started as a newsletter bundle. Essentially, it was their
These are the
core
guys with the
idea.
logo of the handwritten E.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Continue. I know they
Yeah.
do newsletters and have an AI service. And that's
Yeah.
it.
So they started off as like a newsletter bundle. They were like, hey, bunch of people writing good newsletters right now. We can make more money if we bundle together, make the value prop for subscribing better. And then I think in part because Nathan Bashaw, who is like one of the founders, is just like a product person at heart. He went off and started Lex. And he started it kind of under every, or like, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know the legal structure, but he started it while keeping it connected to every.
Mhm.
And they decided to do something pretty interesting, which is they just made Lex, a subscription to Lex, part of the every bundle. So now by subscribing to, you get X number of newsletters and you get access to Lex. And then they've decided to start incubating other almost entirely AI focused tools, actually entirely AI focused tools under every. And so they're using the cash flow from the newsletter business to fund the development of these products, and then just building those products into the bundle. And so they're doing the whole like, we're building a media company and a software company at the same time thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
But like taking it to an extreme beyond just like a lot of times people talk about that, and what they really mean is the founder's going to try to be an influencer and like build products,
Yeah.
or they mean that like they're just going to try to have really good content marketing. But
Mhm.
they're legitimately building like a media arm and a product arm that are not directly related to each other but
Mhm.
feed each other.
Mhm.
It's pretty interesting. I'm very curious to see if it'll work. They have 4 products out right now. 2 of them seem really cool to me, and 2 of them
What are they?
So
You know?
Lex is one. The other one that's really cool to me, I think, is called Sparkle, and it's like AI workflows, AI content workflows. And then they have one that's like organize your files, like have AI organize your files on your computer, which like just doesn't seem like that big a pain point to me. And also, like, I don't want AI touching my files. Fuck no.
No, that's sick. I want an AI to. You have no idea how messy my desktop is.
And then the last one is like AI summaries of your inbox or something like that.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, another one of these let's solve email products.
Yeah, this is one of those like I don't think you can AI your way out of a process, like personal process problem.
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think inbox, I think people need to stop trying to solve email and just accept that like email's pretty fucking good, even if it's still painful.
Yeah, you just need to be better at email. Like
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm using Lex. I signed up for an every subscription in order. It was like, I mean, it worked on me. I was like, okay, I can pay $12 a month for Lex, or I can pay $20 a month for every plus Lex plus all of their other tools and
Have you
anything they develop.
seen Lenny's newsletter and him doing this?
No, is he doing products too?
Not his products. When you subscribe for a year, for a while, or recently, if you subscribe for a year of Lenny, which was like $100, I think you got a year of Perplexity, a year of like 6 months of Notion, all these other things. It's similar, I know. It's not.
Yeah,
exactly
that feels a lot weaker to me because it's like,
Yeah.
that's just a fucking discount code. That's just an affiliate system. Like
Yeah.
that. Like that's not that exciting to me. It's like, okay, whatever. I mean, nice to have, I guess, but like, you know, to me, like this is so much more interesting because it's like, okay, you subscribe and you just get access to all of the tools and anything they build in the future.
Yeah. No, I like it. It's like a YMCA card or a YMCA membership. It feels more like a membership, right? It's like what NFTs kind of were trying to do but failed to do with like, you got to pass into this group and now you get everything that the group does.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. That's pretty cool.
By the way, one more thing before we move on. Actually, two more things. I lied. One, so I really want to export all your content as Markdown to MetaMonster because like we scrape your site, we convert all of your content to Markdown. As I've been playing around with these different AI tools, like I'm like, I would love to just pull my content out of MetaMonster and plug it into these AI tools.
Totally.
Or just be able to chat with my content in MetaMonster, maybe. Who knows? Totally. So that's like one thing.
Getting dangerously close to like MCP stuff, by the way.
I know. Also learned that term today. When did that become a thing? Like people are just suddenly using MCP like it's like everyone knows what that is. When did that become a thing?
I feel okay. I'm pretty sure it's been a thing since like 2
By the way,
weeks ago.
MCP is like model controller something.
Model context protocol, I think.
Okay.
Am I wrong? Model
something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Someone in the comments, let us know. I feel like it's only been a thing for like 2.5 weeks, but also it feels like everyone's known about it for 2 years or something. Like,
yeah. People are just suddenly using it, and I'm like, okay. I had to Google it today. I was like, what is this? Yeah, we are getting dangerously close. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay, so that was one thing. I might have forgotten what the last thing was. Using MetaMonster for...
I love the idea. Just thinking about it.
Getting the content out. Also, would it be helpful for migrations to be able to get like Markdown files out of a website?
It's okay. I think I'm gonna have to do a lot more cleanup than like WordPress already has an API. HubSpot has an API. So we're migrating to Webflow. It's not the worst thing in the world. And like the amount of pain to have to clean things up is kind of a pain in the ass. Even Ghost with WordPress, like you can't do this in the front end, but they have a tool in their GitHub that lets you do a better WordPress to Ghost migration. I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I love the idea of getting to export as Markdown because that's basically what I do now. I use Gina, grab a site's thing as Markdown, drop it into Claude's artifacts, and like I start querying it as a way to
that makes sense.
So
that's cool. Okay, so that was one thing. Shit, what was the other thing? We were talking about so one of the things I did, like the first blog post I wrote on the MetaMonster blog was this whole like, we believe AI shouldn't be used for content generation. Like AI, like we're not building MetaMonster as an AI writer. We're building it as like your SEO sidekick. Like it'll do all the grunt work for you. And TPD, but I feel like my opinion on that is actually starting to shift a little bit, where it's like I still fundamentally believe that like you shouldn't just blindly generate content with AI most of the time. Like you still need to come to the table with an opinion, but like more and more I'm seeing AI as like, oh, this could be, a tool. Like people could use it the way I'm using it, like transcribing what I'm saying, helping me organize and reword my thoughts into something cohesive. That's not exactly like raw content generation, but it is content generation. And then like another thing, I think I'm going to use AI to generate a bunch of like alternative pages for MetaMonster at some point, where it's like, these are following a template. I don't want to do it pure programmatic SEO style where I literally template it out, but I need to just like, each one is going to be kind of the same as the others. They just need to have some context of like the specific tool I'm comparing MetaMonster to, and then be able to like kind of reword our value props in different ways. And like, that's the kind of thing that like AI content generation makes a ton of sense for. Like it doesn't make I'm not bringing a ton of value to the table being like, ooh, let me write this alternative page in a super creative way. It's like, people reading those don't need them to be, I mean, I certainly think like being a little creative with them is better than just like the giant row of check boxes that a lot of them have. But like, people just want to get the information and want that information displayed in an easy way to read. And so it's like, I'm kind of changing my mind about like, I do think AI content generation kind of makes sense within certain use cases. And so I got to figure out how to reframe that perspective, I think, and keep it powerful without losing, but also maybe break. Like, I got to figure out how to I think present a more nuanced point of view.
I actually don't think your point on this has changed. You use AI to do the grunt work. Like, comparison pages are grunt work. Technical documentation is, frankly, a lot of times grunt work. A lot of it is grunt work. Now, thinking about the flow of like how you organize documentation and maybe like or aligning it to how a user might use your product and therefore having really good documentation structure, that is like human thought. And then like, you know, writing things like I would love to just record like myself doing something and then have AI describe in like words, like break it out into a technical documentation sort of thing. Like, I don't think your philosophy on that has changed. Let monster endeavors do the grunt work.
Yeah. And I agree with that. But like, as it's written right now, the blog says like, AI shouldn't be used for content generation. And so I think I need to just reframe it a little bit as to be more about like the grunt work versus the creative work, but not go quite so hard on content generation, because like I'm planning to use AI for content generation.
Yeah. Maybe something like I shouldn't be your substitute for creativity.
Yeah.
And effort.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What's going on in Miscreants world?
A lot. God, there's so many people. It feels like we're like onboarding a new person every day at this point.
That's wild.
Just kind of crazy.
How many new people have you brought on? Like in the last?
We brought on a project manager. We brought on another designer. Before the project manager, we had just brought on a new developer.
Yeah,
and then we're bringing on our product marketer next week.
Awesome.
Well. I know, insanity.
Yeah, like, that's a lot of people, especially when your team was 10 people before. That's like almost 50% growth.
I looked at the org chart and like, oh shit, what happened, guys? Yeah, so that's been fun. That's been really cool. I think like we, okay, you're gonna wince at this, but like the strategy right now is to be like the McKinsey, to take like the McKinsey model and apply it to like who we are as an agency. Specifically, when we say that, it's just shorthand for like having a really good training program. And the dream of mine is to hire almost based on we kind of do this now because we just hired everyone.
Does this mean you're actually going to write documentation, have process docs?
Anyway, so
commit to a process.
Yeah. I don't. You had me until the last line.
Commit to a process. How the fuck do you train someone if there's no process to train them on?
Well, I think that's the problem with the process doc. It just needs to have more if-then statements. Yeah, I think we've been doing this long enough to like be able to kind of provide like here's a flexible model, like a flexible system of generally here's what we would do, but if the client doesn't have this, here are situations you will probably run in, like common scenarios, and that's how you you know, if the client's deadline is next month and the client or the client's deadline is not next month, within instead of a reasonable timeline, a tighter timeline, and the client owes you copy, for example, what are the things you can do to push something back, and then also get them to launch, or I don't know, whatever it is, right? But the point being is that we want to have like really good training, get people onboarded, get designers who are coming in, even like initiated into like security culture, all this sort of stuff. JJ's kind of leading that at the moment, which has been cool. I've put my eyes on some of the stuff. We just filled out our DEF CON vendor application again this morning, and that was, I mean, same thing every week, every single year, basically the same answers, but that's cool. That's exciting. That's happening.
Are you scaling up at all? Like, are you gonna, because you sell out every year, so are you going to increase inventory?
I think so. I think we are going to increase inventory. I think it's like ridiculous to think we should bring 100 of an officially licensed DEF CON shirt, like DEF CON merchandise shirt, that everyone is like, this shirt is better than DEF CON's actual stuff, and think like, oh yeah, we can get away with selling 100 of these and not have people just banging down our door coming all the time. So I don't know if I have the balls to do double the stock. I'm gonna try to do double the stock. It's gonna be crazy if we do that. Yeah, I will say, like, our original strategy. You know what's funny? You know how you gave me advice that when I started the SaaS thing, you're like, maybe hire someone who's dedicated to doing this so that when you have client fires, it keeps moving.
Client fires, or like, I need to go sell 200 t-shirts, or any of the million other things that you do. Yeah,
exactly. So we should have done that for shirts. So we're talking about that today as well.
Oh,
yeah. No, wouldn't that be so smart if we just also applied the same thinking to and learn our lessons? What we would like.
Wait, so you're gonna hire someone to run the like Miscreants brand, like apparel brand?
At some point. One thing at a time. We'll get the SaaS live first, and then we'll probably sit through this DEF CON before we consider it again. But I think it is getting to that time, like the growth of the clothing side is just capped by the fact that we do not do anything like to sell it or to do anything. Like every single time I feel like because I go out in New York and I like see something cool and I post a story, we get a sale. We still get sales on the store with literally zero effort at the moment. Especially because everyone else there's a whole fulfillment center that handles it. Yeah, and I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We're just kind of like leaving a lot of money on the table. Like, perfect world, the way we should have been, we should be treating DEF CON, and I say this every single year, and we never do this, is that DEF CON is actually like, yes,
clear
it's an inflation, but it's a clear out sale. But that requires us to have things to clear out and not just like one reorder of stock. So there's that. One of our new designers we brought on, his name is also Ben. Shout out to Ben. We now have two Bens. They're both from London. They both went to the same university.
Oh damn!
And God, there's one call where they both went like this at the same time on a call. I almost fucking lost it.
We at one point had two Austins, and I was like, "This is bad. We gotta branch out with our hiring." Yeah. Unfortunately, they were both insanely talented.
So yeah, just hire more Austins. What else is happening in Miscreants? The SaaS is chugging along. Just got update number 3. It looks like from our guy Dustin,
sick
software engineer. He's killing it. Looks like we have site cards, sidebar improvements. He's doing some two-way sync stuff. There's a lot of I think your advice, I don't know if this was on a recorded or not, but you were telling me that to find an engineer who has like product thinking experience, and I think definitely found someone who does that, mainly because
love it.
Like, I was going through the list of like, here's all the things that I want, and then he told me a lot of blind spots of API rate limits, right, that I didn't realize Webflow would have for some reason, or whatever sort of thing. So
for the record, I kind of think everyone should hire engineers with product experience, unless you're doing like truly cutting edge research. Like, then sure, go hire the PhDs who
Yeah.
just want to nerd out on the math. But like everyone else who goes and is like, we need to get the PhD level neckbeards and who are horrible to work with. That's the kind of person hire someone who can actually fucking communicate, who can work on a team, who has some product sense, and they will move you along so much faster.
Yeah, I mean, that is the goal. At least the first. I mean, I think the first two things you said are the requirement. Hire an engineer who can communicate and be a part of the team.
Yeah.
I do feel like it's still pretty rare to meet engineers with product sense, but maybe they all have to take. Who's that guy? I can't say his name. Shreyas.
Oh,
Sushi.
yeah.
Am I saying his name?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I know who you're talking about. I think Shreyas.
Shreyas. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Shreyas' product sense course. Maybe that's actually just the training that everyone needs in life. But
I mean, I feel like it's not that hard. You just have to get people who like care a little bit and are mildly interested in the business side of things, which a lot of engineers are. A lot of engineers are very interested in the business side of things.
True.
Like they want to see the stuff they build be successful and
True.
get used and impact the company.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, you said you brought up vibe coding. I may have spent my entire weekend vibe coding a new app. You can find it at scribble.sh.
Oh my god, you actually got it live? Hell
yeah.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Thanks.
Yeah. If we had an actual editor, we'd put this on the screen and
right. But you can't see it, so you got to go to scribble.sh.
Yeah, I'm also oh, what is this? A note-taking app?
Yeah, it's a note-taking. Okay.
A note-taking app plus like a draw, like a whiteboard, infinite whiteboard kind of vibe.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Thanks. It's mainly supposed to be a digital privacy screen. Mainly because I really like writing blogs on an airplane and a bus and one of those like long public transit rides.
Yeah.
And I always feel super self-conscious of someone sitting next to me because I don't want to blog about
Wait, how
things.
does it work as a privacy screen?
Okay. So on the top right, you see the eyeball?
Yeah.
Horrendous UX, by the way. I used it. I was like, I need to add like hotkeys or something. But if you click on the eyeball, it like goes in and
what's it called when you draw with black Sharpie on?
It turns into like a horizontal marker line. All your text turns into a horizontal marker.
What is that called when in the security world when you need to go through redacted. And like redacted? It looks like a redacted document. So okay, so you can type.
So you can type, but it stays redacted. But you generally should know, like if you're typing, you should probably know what you're typing. Yeah.
Oh, this is so confusing to me.
It's not for anyone. It's not for anyone but myself, for what it's worth.
And then you also added the infinite whiteboard vibe just for fun, for funsies.
Yeah, I just kind of want to know how far I could take it. But that's also the problem with vibe coding, by the way, is that everything feels so easy that you just start asking it to do things.
Oh wait, this is hilarious, John. It also it also obfuscates some of your controls.
Oh, yeah. 100% it does.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was like, what is this control? It's your zoom to fit thing, but it replaces like zoom to fit, zoom in, zoom out with marker lines. Vibe coding. This is what happens.
Yeah,
the vibes are vibing. And
listen, I just let Lovable take the wheel. Okay, I made a PRD in Claude and I dropped it in there. I'm like, go, and then I clicked around to make it fix some things, and here we are. Vibe coding. My verdict: vibe coding, not production ready, but great for internal tools like this. Right? Like I know it's something that I want, and I don't need anyone else to know how to use it. Perfect for that right now.
I think vibe coding also can actually work for like production ready stuff if you have an actual engineer doing the vibing and like
Sure.
checking what's being spit out. So like,
Totally.
like Austin generated the WordPress plugin, and then he was like reviewing the code like he would a PR or something, and he's like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, this logic doesn't make sense, so I'm gonna either tell the AI to change it or change it myself.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, vibe coding without an experienced engineer, really hard to
Mhm.
get to production ready. Vibe coding with an experienced engineer can actually just mean you have a faster engineer.
Definitely. Definitely.
It seems.
Yeah. I mean, some, I think there's some nuance to that. Mainly because like I don't think all experienced engineers like have a security mindset or the perfect like mental models for security, or like like certain privacy things that they might need to worry about and don't build in that way, and
Yeah.
then you have with those issues. But I think
But you
uh
also have that with them writing code from scratch,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm saying, like experienced engineers still might be lacking that, so you're still lacking in certain areas. um and I mean that's where like good software engineering and product development life cycles come in, right? Like having better technical reviews, threat models, all that sort of stuff to make production ready code that we're still missing. But
I love like I saw Matt Winsing, who is just
yeah,
forever a hater.
yeah,
um uh he'd say like, this is hilarious, people are finally discovering that like the hard part of engineering wasn't writing code.
yeah,
Like it wasn't typing on the fucking keyboard. it
yeah,
was it was the thinking. And it's
yeah,
like everyone's like freaking out that AI is going to replace engineers. It's like, no, the typing code is not the hard part. The hard
yeah.
part is unless you have ADHD like me, and then the typing code is part of the hard part.
Sure,
but,
sure, sure.
but yeah, the hard part is the mental model, the data model, the architecture, the engineer, like the
Yep,
actual engineering.
yep, yep. Yeah, yeah. The translation of languages is has never been the yeah. Um, yeah, that's been Miscreants. What a, what about you? What it's
So I think it would be fun for us to talk about consulting.
okay?
So, as you know, the audience doesn't know, but as you know,
Yes,
the two consulting projects I've been doing with Miscreants are
yes,
coming to a close. They've both been great, have been a lot of fun to work on. I think the clients are pretty happy, but with one,
very
we're getting
happy.
to a point where um, the workload is shifting from product to marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're handing it off to the rest of the Miscreants team. Um, and then with the other one, they were just getting to a point where, um, you know, they were ready to bring on a full time designer, which is
Mm-hmm.
awesome. I
Mm-hmm.
always love seeing clients kind of outgrow us and get to the point where they're ready to go bring someone on full time. Um, and so with that, um, I'm kind of at a little bit of a crossroads where I'm trying to figure out what's next. And obviously would love to continue to do work with Miscreants if
Yep.
work comes up. Um, but in the short term, I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to focus a little bit more on MetaMonster. Um, sort of trial out what it would be like to work full time on MetaMonster, kind of like what I was doing back in the chart juice days. And just get a feel for that, see what I can get accomplished. But this has also got me asking the question: should I, start building up my consulting brand? And if I did, what would that look like? What would my positioning be? What services would I offer? Um, how would I go find those new clients? So I thought it might be kind of fun to chat about that.
Yeah, total. I definitely think you're not fired if if we bring someone on. You're back on the next project. Just for the record, caveating that with you totally should build your own consulting brand, because I think um like there's so many people building cool shit, or who want to build cool shit, and even like the people I met at MicroConf who are building cool shit, that you would even be a great fit for just on a product management, UX, like all that sort of like and also like positioning. I think like
Mhm.
even at MicroConf, right? I think these like really smart people were all like, "Oh shit, I should go rebuild my website," and I feel like that's never been a problem for the two of us when we talk about products, mainly because I don't know, maybe it's like we're communicating it better or we're thinking about that as the product is being sort of incepted
Yeah.
in our
Yeah, I mean,
conversations.
I certainly don't pretend to get positioning of products right out of the
Mm,
gate, but I
mhm.
think I'm relatively good at picking a positioning and then like making that positioning somewhat clear.
Yeah.
I mean, not perfect. Everyone struggles with it. Sometimes I'll explain stuff to people and it
Mhm.
it takes practice and it takes iterations to get to a point. But and then there's a big difference between identifying the best positioning for your business and just like
Yeah.
clearly stating a positioning. Um
Yeah. Well, I
yeah, so
think
I go ahead, go ahead.
the thing that I'm getting at is like, I think what you have always been good at and are good at is like essentially asking the question of like, guys, what the fuck are we building here? Um, which I think is not a thing that like people always think about, right? And like, there's a lot of times where I find myself also wondering that when clients tell us about their thing or are pivoting or new startups or or not even clients, just like random folks that I meet who are telling me that they're working on this thing. Like I don't think that they've conceptualized a like the way you put people through a story mapping session, right?
Mhm.
I don't think that they have totally conceptualized what they are building. They are just building shit and seeing what sticks. Um, and I think that systematic thinking and that product thinking is useful. And I also think that's why a lot of times like they end up in this like weird product positioning messaging area is that it's not um like I don't think that I think with positioning you fundamentally don't necessarily need to be right. You just
Mhm.
need to be
You need to pick
articulate.
something and
Exactly.
then be able to measure how
Right.
people are receiving that thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
agree with that.
you
Like,
can make educated guesses. I mean, marketing is just putting, educated guesses on what you think is expected value and then seeing if it works. And then you redo it. You redo it over and over again until you find the thing that hits, right? But I think just that path of doing it is like I don't know. I think through the entire time that we've worked together and known each other, it's never been like totally like necessarily a thing we've struggled with, or at least let me put it this way: it's not so much whether or not we struggle with it. I think it's the fact that we go and try to like make the effort to struggle through it.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that's probably a good
and
reframing.
yeah,
Yeah, so there's kind of like two potential ways that I've been thinking about positioning myself as a consultant if I were to
yeah,
do this, right? Um, One is more product heavy focus.
mhm,
So like be like a product manager for hire, fractional CPO, fractional product manager, whatever. Um, and building my services around like idea validation, which I used to think wasn't really super doable as a service because the hardest part is recruiting users. But now that
mhm,
I've used um, some of these user interview platforms, I think you actually can, hack that a little bit and not for every client. Some clients have a harder time than others, but I think for a lot of clients, you can, just sort of pay people to talk to you at first and use that to get over that initial hurdle. So anyway, sorry, product management as a service, um, product validation, positioning is a great, sort of service offering there. Story mapping and like, um, and kind of like, product MVP development, um, and then like some sort of ongoing user research, user discovery kind of piece. That's the piece that I've always had a hard time figuring out how to package and sell. Um, but something like that. And so I've actually started playing around with this a tiny bit. I
Is it
think
with Lex? Are you using Lex?
no.
Oh, okay.
On disco shrimp. LOL,
Oh,
my
that's sick.
if you go to discoshrimp.lol and go to click through to the consulting page, I describe myself. I sort of categorize it just as product consulting, and you know, offer this 3 services I have are like product validation, product coaching, and then product design and dev. And I think
Mhm.
positioning would be a really good one to sort of fit into there and like experiment with like how these things overlap and stuff. And then some sort of ongoing like research, user research piece or something like that. So this is like one direction where it's very product focused. This is more what I've historically done in my career, but just
Mhm.
leaning more and more into like the product management piece of it. Um, and I had a friend who did this really well, where he charged like a flat fee of like $5,000 a month, for like product design and dev. And what he would do is, as part of the process, he would help you hire freelancers, and they would bill you directly. So like the
Mhm.
total cost is more, but then you have the relationships with the freelancers. You're not dependent on them. I think it can be a really good process. And so like part of my value is helping you hire and vet freelancers, helping
Yeah.
you manage those people, helping, all of this stuff. So like this is one route I could go. And there's a whole question mark of like, how, is this positioning clear enough? And like, do you niche down into a vertical? How do you start finding clients for this? Um, the other direction that I've been thinking about a little bit is, as I've been building my marketing chops, I've realized that like I think part of what my superpower is like I can do marketing and product. Um, and so I think like I could be really impactful in more of a growth role, like a full stack growth role, where it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, I can help you. I can stand up a landing page really fast. I can stand up some Google ads and we can do some tests. I can help you with your positioning. I can rebuild your like redesign and rebuild your onboarding flow either myself with AI or like, you know, hiring freelancers to do it and overseeing it.
Mhm.
Um, and like, um, so I think that could be really interesting to try to position as well. Like, I could build free tools for you, help you build and launch free
Right.
tools to attract traffic that way. Build a directory or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
and so just be like kind of because I'm a generalist. I know a little bit about a lot of parts of
Yeah.
product development and like marketing, but
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in any of them. And so I think building myself as like, you know, a product growth person, like
Yeah.
a full stack growth manager or growth consultant or something could be really interesting too.
I think so. I think the things. Okay, a couple thoughts. One is I do really like this idea of like helping someone find freelancers, and helping doing the placement of that, and having someone sort of come in and like put together almost like a product org
Mm-hmm.
internally, and then dipping. I think that that itself feels like it has a lot of uh like yeah, it feels like it has like a solid outcome that I would get out of it, as a potential prospect.
Yeah.
um on the other side, my brain when we talk about this like kind of goes into what is it called, uh have you ever seen AJ and Smart back in the
No.
day?
Mm-mm.
Okay, this guy Jonathan, I swear to God, when I didn't know you and Agent Smart was still functioning, sorry, when you were running an agency, when I knew you was an agency owner and Agent Smart was still running, I always saw Jonathan. I was like, that just seems like a German Andrew. Um, you'll see what I mean if you look up the picture, by the way. But they basically would sell $13,000 sprints, and they would take you down a design sprint Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, etc. And I wonder if there's like a way to kind of do that with what you're kind of doing here, like an idea validation sprint, a messaging sprint, a etc. It doesn't have to be a week long.
Yeah.
There's that. Um, I think the growth thing feels good. I struggle with the word growth because I mean, I guess it depends on your buyer and what stage they're at.
Yeah.
I feel like you're telling me this role is great for like an early stage. I feel like growth ends up being more of a is budgeted for in
A later stage
in a
company.
later stage Series
So
B company.
that's part of the
Um,
appeal of, I think the
okay,
growth role would be targeted at later, more established companies.
gotcha.
And I think that's part of the appeal is more established companies have better budgets and are often more stable.
Sure,
And
sure.
so like selling, if I went with the growth positioning, I would be targeting later stage companies. I would
Okay.
be like, hey, you can get a full stack growth consultant to come in and like, you know,
Hmm.
someone who can look at growth from a marketing and product perspective and
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
help you unlock some new growth channel.
yeah. I mean, I think it's the right fit. I um I think it's the right fit. Uh I think the one thing that I would want to add to that pitch is to add in more like a data driven sort of approach. I find that growth in these like Series B companies
Yeah.
like involve go to market engineering, right? Like I know you do the Google ad stuff, then it's like, oh, we want like full funnel tracking, we want hybrid attribution. It gets into this like
Ooh, yeah.
other amalgamation of like markups that
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something you want to do though.
No, it's not something I have any experience doing. And like also, I kind of believe that full funnel attribution is a lie. It's a
Oh,
myth. It
totally,
it
totally.
doesn't
Yeah,
really exist.
totally, totally.
Like
Um, yeah,
one of my
100%.
one of my
100%.
fundamental beliefs is that with attribution, you try the best you can, and then the rest is just vibes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty. It's so. I think it's. I don't think it's not. I think after you get the first 80%, the rest of it is a waste of time,
Yeah.
and has incredibly diminishing returns. Um,
Yeah. I
but
wonder if I
yeah,
could see that direction. I see your point though. I think
mhm,
the data piece would be really appealing to people. And so I
mhm,
almost think that direction could be more impactful if I had a partner to tackle it with who was really
mhm,
into the data side of things and be
mhm.
like, all right, cool. This person's gonna bring the data and I'm gonna bring more of like the creative, like let's like redo your onboarding flow, let's redo your positioning, let's fix, let's
Yeah,
build 10 new free tools for you in the next 10 months and just like, you know,
yeah,
bring more of the product build side of things and have them bring more of the data side of things.
yeah.
Um,
Makes sense.
yeah, which I don't have that person. I don't have a person like that in mind.
Mhm.
So I'd need to like find that person to for that potentially.
Yeah,
Maybe not, but
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think you would have to find a sweet spot of like Series B where they don't have uh, like we've gotten into like Series B companies before, right? Where they have a much larger marketing team,
yeah,
and it is there's another set of like politics to work with of like being the consultant in the room, and I don't know, it gets weird. You'll have to kind of I think it takes it takes a little bit of. I'm not saying you don't have it. It just like it's more like how much you want to deal with like the
oh,
amount
I
of
have zero
finesse.
patience for politics. So if
Yeah.
it takes politics to like close those deals, that may not be a good fit for me.
I think the problem isn't even just like politics to close the deals. I think often if this is my experience when we've been brought on for anything remotely like this sort of stuff, we get
Yeah,
brought on by like a CMO or like a head of like some sort of head of marketing or a, head of like a COO or something to kind of come in, right? And then it gets really fucking weird because
they don't
like
have buy-in from like the CEO, and the CEO is
exactly.
constantly like
Or yeah, yeah.
sniffing around trying to figure out what's going on, and they want
It's just
something different. And
right, or the marketing team or the sales folks are like feeling weird about XYZ sort of thing, and it gets really weird. And
yeah,
getting anything done. Like we've had things where we get brought in as a consultant to like help figure out why open source, like how to get one more percentage of open source users converting to customers, and we just got blocked from like customer success from talking to any customer.
yeah,
And like I don't know how we do our job if like we can't speak to the customers, you
totally,
know.
yeah,
And then we basically just had to like here's best practices on your product to like onboard them. Here's like things experiments to try. But I do love the idea of like growth experiments as a service. I like
Yeah.
that
I've
might be
always
really
wanted
cool.
to see that
Yeah.
exist. Or even like even more focused, like free tools as a service, I think would
Yeah.
be a really fun uh
Vibe coded free tools as a service.
maybe.
Yeah.
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 It's interesting.
I mean,
The
there can I say one more thing?
yeah, please.
There might be a really cool niche to do like a engineering as marketing
Yeah.
as a service, and
Yeah.
that might be like a really cool angle that,
I've had that
might
exact
show up.
thought before, like position
Yeah.
it as engineering as marketing,
Cool.
but as a
Cool.
service. And
Nice. Nice.
yeah, I think it would be really interesting. I think the difficulty there is like a lot of times the people who like engineering as marketing appeals to are teams with like a big engineering team where the engineers like are like,
Yeah.
we just want to build shit
Yeah.
and call it marketing. And so it's like,
Yeah.
is anyone actually going to pay for engineering as marketing, or are the teams who are interested in engineering as marketing going to want to do the engineering themselves?
I wonder, okay, I think that's a good point. I wonder if that is the exact right messaging to get into an org. And then I don't know if you want to do this, but like to do marketing work. Basically, like engineering marketing is a great idea, but you still need the marketing component of like, if you
Yeah.
build a free tool, you're still gonna have to post about the goddamn free tool.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
That's true.
and I wonder if it's like you come in, it's like here's the like we put together the plan of engineers marketing. The
Yeah.
engineers like can build a thing, and then you get to do the marketing side, and that or I don't know, someone does the marketing side, right? But you come in more of like, let's help you implement this as a strategy, and that way your engineers don't just build free shit and then open source it randomly. And
I mean, that
it,
would be cool because then you're also more
Mhm.
of positioning yourself more as the expert, the consultant to like
Yeah,
oversee the stuff and not so much like I'm just going to execute, I'm going to crank out code. You're like,
yeah,
I'm the person helping you guide
yeah.
this process, which is, yeah, that's interesting.
I think
Um,
that would be really cool messaging. Just like a
you still have
are
to
you
market your engineering as marketing for engineering as marketing to work. You still need marketing.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm thinking like landing page, like a, are you the right fit? You are heavy engineering team, marketer of one, so um, and that way, like, because that's the what do you call it? Like the team composition that you need, right? You need, and that way you can come in as a consultant. You're like, okay, and like, and the value prop is like, you help engineers get more involved in marketing, and then help marketing lives that one marketing person's life become a little bit easier because they're not, and also a little bit more respected than I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something
There's
there.
something really interesting there for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me throw a curveball at you.
Okay.
Maybe instead of doing product or growth stuff, maybe I should start an SEO agency.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it would make sense.
I have no
Would
fucking clue how to get SEO clients because I've never done SEO work, so I have like no, I have no portfolio or anything. Um, I'd have to like, I'd probably what I'd have to do is I'd have to like spend a little bit of time like building a portfolio of like either do some work for some friends, do some work on a couple of my own properties, get some results, put together a couple of case studies, and then
Mhm.
be like, all right, cool, now let me leverage this. Um, I also thought about like maybe
Yeah.
a lightweight version of this to test would be like for Mike Privet, I just did like
Uh-huh.
he was trying out MetaMonster. This is our friend who runs Return on
Yeah.
Security, which is this cool newsletter.
Great
Um,
newsletter.
he was trying out MetaMonster and was like kind of unsure what to do with it. And so I was like, here, let me put together like a little SEO one pager for you. And
Hmm.
so I used tools other than MetaMonster. I used Ahrefs and like
Yep.
his search console and like
Yep.
a few different things. And I put together a one pager that was like, hey, here's like 5 ideas to build backlinks. Here's like what I think the 3 highest priority things for you to do are. And here's like what MetaMonster can do to help you.
Yep.
Um, and so I could try to do like offer a productized service where it's just like, $500, $1,000, something like that. I'll create an SEO one pager for you. That's like I'll create just an SEO strategy for you. Um, The problem with that is like Mike is one of the rare people who will take something like that and actually go execute on it. Most people need you to do the execution, which that's, I guess, then how you build the agency is you offer to start doing the execution too. But
yeah, I mean, that is the SEO agency way, right? The implementation, and they're like, yeah, okay. And then make your audit report be just the god awful SEMrush export, so then nobody knows what the fuck they're looking at. Okay. Yes, and what if you just do it for newsletter creators, especially Beehive people?
ooh,
Because Beehive has a whole new website building tool to make your thing look a lot better. Build great Beehive websites, but more importantly, build SEO rich Beehive tongue twister Beehive websites, and then you help implement.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Newsletter creators, SEO for newsletter creators is really fascinating. And you
Plus
could
you got
even
one
go,
already, so
yeah, you could go down as far as Beehive, or you could, I've got a friend who runs Sparkloop. I could, try to see if I could use that to, meet some people and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
because I do think there's like some weird black magic with like Substack newsletters and then Beehive newsletters and like ghost ones where like, do they have the right schema? Do they not have the right schema? Are they actually building backlinks and all this sort of stuff that like Substack SEO is like kind of a black box. Like people are like sometimes like our stuff indexes, sometimes it doesn't, and it's just this weird
interesting
sort of thing. So
okay, cool. Yeah. I think for right now, I'm putting all of this on hold a little bit. Like I'm just going to take April and focus on MetaMonster. We've got our launch coming up. I want to, get the marketing wheels turning and like get some content on the site and just make sure that, that's all cranking. But, May, June, if I may start thinking more seriously about pursuing one of these consulting ideas and trying to start building, a consulting business alongside.
Sweet.
Yeah, in a little more in earnest.
Right. That's assuming our mutual friend doesn't come to us and it's like, hey, come to our product.
Yeah. Which would be great. I would love to do. To keep doing some Miscreants work. Yeah. Cool. All right, man. This was fun.
Is the next time we speak the launch of MetaMonster? How close are we to?
We're 2 weeks away.
Okay.
So next week, I think I will be, hopefully, if everything goes well this weekend, about to leave for the state robotic competition. And then we launch like 2 days after the state robotic competition. So by our next call, I should have sent out the launch announcement email to our list.
Sweet. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see how it goes.
Cool. Me too.
Cool, man.
If we get one customer, I'll be happy.
Yeah, totally. Me too.
Yeah,
me too. Then I don't have to carry the burden of I'll finally have a friend.
Cool. Sweet, man. Cool.
All right. I'll see you later. Thanks.
Later. Bye.